It's September 29th, 2024, Sunday afternoon.
Just before 2 o'clock, and we're underway for what may well be the last sale of September. We may get out tomorrow. It depends on the wind and how we feel. It's a cool day today. Temperature is only about 60 degrees. And once we get out of the harbor, it's gonna get a little bit chillier. So, but it's a nice day, except that this cloud deck, which you can probably see up there, has come over us in the last 30 minutes. And it's supposed to be sunny all day today, so who knows? Anyway, we're under sail out of the harbor. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, here we are, Southwest Harbor. It's supposed to be a light air day today, around 5 knots, so it's not going to be blazing fast sailing. And as you can see, it's pretty quiet in here. There's the schooner Ambergris. They've got sails up, which suggests they're going to go out in a little while with a load of passengers. And so that's a pan around. And we will continue out. And hopefully we'll pick up a little more wind when we get out of the harbor. Okay, here's a couple loons. It's a little unusual. Usually when you point a camera at them, they dive. But they're about 30 feet from the boat. It looks like they're doing a little grooming right there as we blaze along at 1.8 knots. But there is more wind when we get outside the harbor. There's Greening Island with Mount Desert Island in the distance. Well, we are out of Southwest Harbor proper. That's Greening Island there. And we're sailing almost due east toward Sutton Island ahead. And we're making 4.7 knots, so the wind definitely piped up a little bit out here. Not what I would call gale force by any means, but we're definitely moving. And considering that the forecast was for 5 knots or less, I am not disappointed. Well, there's Greening, looking back toward Norwood Cove on the north side of Clark Point in Southwest Harbor. Over here we have Great Cranberry and the Western Way, and you can see one of the Duck Islands out there. So it's a very nice day today, and it looks like the clouds will blow through, which will be pleasant. It's not supposed to rain or anything today, and the forecast was for sunny. So we'll see what actually happens. Okay, there is the east end of Greening Island and a nice view of Mount Desert Island looking over toward Northeast Harbor. And Bear Island, a couple other boats over there, and there are 2 boats, one ahead of us and one astern of us, and that's about it. There are only about 4 or 5 boats out sailing today. So, but it's a nice, clear, pretty day, which is one of the nice things about sailing this time of year. We're maintaining about 5 knots close hauled. Well, a little less. It's dropped off. We're down to 4.5. Oh well, we can pick that up anytime we want by falling off a little more. Okay, we're continuing slightly south of east toward Little Cranberry Island. There's Bear Island in the distance over there, beyond that sailboat. And another gaff rig sailboat over there, which I think is the Friendship Sloop Alice E. And the entrance to Northeast Harbor. And as we look back toward the west. And we're up to 5.3, 5.4. The wind picked up a little bit. There's Great Cranberry. And you can see there's a bit of wind out here, just the beginnings of a few whitecaps. Nothing big, but they're there. And considering what the forecast was, 5 knots or less, this is much better sailing than I expected. Okay, this is Sutton Island as we look north. And we're between Sutton Island and Great Cranberry Island to the south. And we're still headed toward Little Cranberry Island up there. It's a nice day to be out sailing. There's just enough wind. I think we hit 5.7 knots on the way over, maybe a little more, I didn't see. There's a view back into Northeast Harbor, which is definitely thinning out. Well, we got into the wind shadow of Great Cranberry and we're down around 3.5 knots, but we're back up a little over 5 now as we're sailing past the east end of Sutton Island. And we're headed more or less due east right now. And some nice homes on the island. You could spend your summer out there. No one lives on that island year-round, though. So be very quiet in the winter. The issue, of course, would be getting onto and off of the island. Most of all these docks get taken out, so it becomes a bit of a problem. And there is, I believe, a road up the middle of the island, but of course in the winter it would be covered with snow and ice and might be a little difficult to maneuver around on. Well, we're officially east of Sutton Island. There's the east end of it there. And we're looking over at Mount Desert Island off to the north, and the houses over there are in the village of Seal Harbor. And ahead of us, we've got the gaff-rigged friendship sloop Alice E. sailing toward us, and the Hinckley Sou'wester 30 looks like it's going to sail across in front of us. And that is East Bunker Ledge, just aft of the white sailboat. Alice E is the oldest friendship sloop sailing on the coast of Maine. It's an 1899 boat. Although the boat, of course, has been rebuilt a few times, so a lot of the boat is much newer than that. Very pretty over there. You can just see one of the bubbles poking its head out over there on Mount Desert Island. And we should get a nice view of them both in just a minute. And looking ahead, you can see there's a bit more lobster gear out here, so I'm going to actually have to pay attention to it. Back in the Great Harbor proper, I was ignoring it. And there's the north side of a Little Cranberry Island. And there's the view down east. If we continued out into that water, we would eventually get to Nova Scotia. And here's a nice view of the friendship sloop Alice E. under sail and beating back in toward the Great Harbor. They've got a load of tourists on board. Now there's the view into Seal Harbor. It's pretty empty. Just a few boats left. Most of the summer people have had their boats hauled out for the season. And their cottages, which is what they call those little places over there, will being closed up for the winter soon. Okay, we're going to sail over close to East Bunker Ledge, which you can see over there. The pylon is just underneath the jib. We're going to sail over fairly close. I've zoomed the chart plotter in a little so that I won't inadvertently run over a spot that's a little shallow. Oh, I think we'll go around it and come in on the other side, closer to Mount Desert Island. Okay, there is East Bunker Ledge. You can see the granite pylon on the island. And there is a flagpole that looks like it has the remains of a flag on it. And you can see where the waves are breaking on the rocks. We don't want to get too close to that. We're still in 70 feet of water, so I think we're safe. We're going to go past the ledge and then around it. And this ledge often has seals on it at low tide. We're pretty close to low, but I don't see any over there. And yeah. Now this is the closest we've been to East Bunker Ledge in a long time. Matter of fact, I don't think we've ever been closer than this. And this ledge has collected its share of wayward sailors, mostly back in the 1900s. Mount Desert Island back then and the Great Harbor were kind of a harbor of refuge during storms, but you had to get in to the harbor. And if you look back at the historic records, more than one schooner fetched up on this ledge while trying to get in and out of the bad weather out in the Gulf of Maine. You see there are a lot of rocks there that are underwater at high tide. We're about half an hour after low right now. And so we'll sail past, then we're gonna jibe over and go on the north side of it. We're just south of the ledge right now. Now, as you can see, East Bunker Ledge has two parts. Southern part where the pylon is, and a northern part that's almost completely submerged at high tide. And you can, in a power boat at a little bit higher tide than this, go between the two halves. We're not going to try that. We're going to continue a little bit further east as we look at some of the quaint summer cottages over there on the south shore of Mount Desert Island. Okay, we've jibed over and we're gonna go on the north side of the ledge. I don't know if you can see the green buoy out there. It's a can. We want to leave that to port and just stay well away from this ledge. We're in 80 feet of water right here, and it looks like we're pretty good as long as we stay outside that buoy. And then we will head back into the Great Harbor of Mount Desert Island after circumnavigating East Bunker Ledge. You can see from the rocks there why you don't really want to run up on that ledge. It could be a little hard on your boat. Now we are on a rising tide, so if we did fetch up on it, all we'd have to do is wait. But I don't intend to try. Okay, we're saying goodbye to East Bunker Ledge as we have circumnavigated it as we head back toward the Great Harbor of Mount Desert Island. And we're going to sail past the entrance to Seal Harbor in just a minute. Here are some of the summer cottages on the rocks. And it'd be tough to have to summer in one of those places. Just the bare bones of necessities. Okay, that's Seal Harbor over there that we're sailing past the entrance to as we're heading about 20 degrees north of west right now. And we'll go past Seal Harbor and continue west past Bear Island, which is on the starboard bow right now, and back into the main part of the Great Harbor of Mount Desert Island. Some nice cottages there. I Wouldn't mind having a house there, but I wouldn't want their property taxes. Now there's another view of Seal Harbor. Still a fair number of boats in there. This house at the end of the point here used to belong to David Rockefeller. I imagine it's still in the Rockefeller family now that he's gone. And John D. Rockefeller Jr.'s house used to be up on the hillside just above Seal Harbor. You can still go up there on a carriage road and see sort of a little bit of the foundations where it used to be. But for some reason they tore it down and got rid of it. Okay, we're headed west on the north side of Sutton Island, which you can see there. And the only trick here is to stay far enough north to clear Bear Island, which is behind the sail right now. And there's Mount Desert Island, and we look back at the cottages of Seal Harbor up on the hillside. Okie doke. Looking north at Mount Desert Island. There's a little causeway over there with a natural seawall. Last winter in the big storms, I believe that overwashed. And we're headed between Bear Island, right there, and Sutton Island. We're making okay time, a little over 4 knots. It's a beautiful fall day out here. Let's take a pan around. And Little Cranberry, and then Sutton closer in. Now there's the east side of Bear Island. You can go between Bear Island and the main part of Mount Desert Island, but it's a little tricky. At this tide, there's a spot that'd be about 2 feet deep. And we've done it back when we had Tortuga, but we did it at high tide where there was nothing to hit. This boat draws almost 5 feet. At this state of the tide, would not be a good idea to go in there unless you were absolutely sure that your plotter was accurate. So, don't see the east side of Bear very often when we're out sailing, because we don't come over here much in the summer, because there's often very light air, and it's also hot because the wind is usually coming over the top of Sutton there, which warms it up. We just have to clear the buoy that's south of Bear Island, and then we will be home free and back in the main part of the great harbor of Mount Desert Island. Well, we're sailing past the Bear Island buoy, and up there on the hillside you can just see the top of the lighthouse poking out. I suspect that when that lighthouse was in service that the trees were cut back up there so that you could see it from other directions. And right here we're looking into Northeast Harbor, which is definitely thinning out. In just a second we'll be able to get a better view of the Bear Island Light for the last time, most likely, of September 2024. There it is, coming out from behind the trees. Nice little lighthouse, and I'm sure many a mariner over the last century and a half has been glad to see that. All right, we're sailing just a little bit south of west across the Great Harbor. I think we're going to go head back in. We might pick up our mooring and de-rig, and drop the mizzen there, because it's a little breezy out here. It's kind of a pain to drop it in a breeze. Over there toward Great Cranberry is the schooner Ambergris with a load of tourists. and a couple of other boats. I see 2 boats south out the Western Way, and ambergris, and 1 other sailboat. Yes, that's Joe. And over here, looking northwest, I see 2 other sailboats. It's been a good sail today. We jibed on the other side of East Bunker Ledge and have sailed back in. So, it looks like today will be a 1 tack sail, or 1 jibe sail. Yeah, it's Greening Island, which we're headed in past, and go into Southwest Harbor, which is just past Greening. Yeah, we're past the east end of Greening Island there, and you can tell from the color difference in the rocks that we're about an hour and a half past low. We're on a rising tide, so should float our boat. And we're headed back into Southwest Harbor. We'll pick up the mooring if the wind is fairly strong, because it's much easier to furl the mizzen if we're dead into the wind on the mooring, and I don't have to worry about where the boat's going. Yeah, see a couple of old boathouses over there that don't look like they're in use anymore, and a few summer cottages. Greening Island has quite a few summer cottages, but like Sutton Island, with which I often confuse it when I'm just talking, no one lives there year-round. It's the summer homes only. Okay, we're headed into Southwest Harbor proper now. That's looking north up Somme Sound. This is the Greening Ledge buoy. As soon as we pass that, I consider us back in Southwest Harbor. And here's the Hinckley Company mooring field with lots of Hinkleys. And of course the wind picked up as we got here into the harbor, which is kind of normal. Alrighty, we just passed the Greening buoy and we're headed into the main part of Southwest Harbor. In just a few seconds, we're going to start the engine and roll the jib up, and then I think we're going to go over to our mooring, pick it up, and take the mizzen down. Okay, we're back at the dock. We had a nice sail today, 9.8 miles. Maximum speed was 5.7. We weren't pushing though. And we went someplace we haven't been for years, over to East Bunker Ledge. So anyway, here is a chart of the Great Harbor, and this is where we went. We sailed west out of Southwest Harbor between Sutton and the Cranberry Islands, out to East Bunker Ledge, around the ledge, back over to the entrance to Seal Harbor, and then back over past Bear Island, and then past Greening Island and back into Southwest Harbor, just a loop. But it was very pleasant out there today, except a little chilly. By the time we got back, it's back down in the 50s here at the marina, so pretty chilly here. Anyway, thanks for watching.